there is a tree in my AS400, and I don't know what to do.
It's like Wi-Fi inside a cable. You had this story where you are not allowed to go inside, ask for logs, or ask any question to the user.
We'll never be replaced. Let's. I can put that on the table for sure.
Welcome to Cisco Tech Stories, a podcast with real-life stories from real-life engineers. Your hosts are Nico and Tristan.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Stories podcast, a new podcast about interesting, unusual, and surprising stories from Cisco Tech and Cisco CX engineers. My name is Nicholas, I am a technical leader in the EMEA Tech Center, and today joining me is Tristan, a tech lead from Service Provider.
Hello, Nico. This is exciting. We have a truckload of stories to share with you. During each episode, we will cover the story of one customer issues from beginning to the end, and the stories will be told from engineers having worked or contributed to the case. And what we want to do is share our passion with technology, showcase our CX community and engineers, educate on technology, and show our thinking process to crack our mysteries.
Right, so we're not going to put the spotlight on specific people, specific problem, right? The idea is not really to learn about a specific bug on a specific platform. That's not really interesting. I think the idea is really to first hear stories, right? Have fun, but also maybe discover technologies we haven't been exposed to, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you will hear from people around the globe, around technologies, maybe in spaces that you never heard about before, that we never heard about before, I'm sure. And you will see that there are things that will surprise you.
And something that really strikes me when I hear stories from other tech engineers when we speak around the coffee is really that the troubleshooting process is the same, right? I remember when we joined, we really had troubleshooting training, but it was not about technical stuff, no comments, nothing. It's just how do you troubleshoot a problem even if you don't know the technology. So it's quite funny sometimes you explain your problem to someone who has no idea but not a single clue about the technology, and that person can still come up with good ideas like, hey, when did it start, what did you do, does it happen there or not there? And just sometimes that person asking you basic question and you can move forward in your issue. So I think that's interesting. We're going to see we're going to get very experienced guests, and we're going to see their techniques, right? Each has a different style in troubleshooting, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have exciting stories.
Yes, I don't know what to add, Nico. You covered it all.
Okay, cool. So each episode we're gonna get mostly we're gonna start with technical leaders from tech from each different technology. We're gonna try to do a tour of all the technologies we have. And then Cisco is really not the kind of place where we will be having problem finding people. We have a lot of other departments inside CX. We have a lot of people working with customers, working with technologies, and facing really interesting problems and solving them on a daily basis. So I have a lot of confidence we're going to get a great guest list. That's not a problem. So Tristan, this first episode is not really the first episode, right? It's an introduction. This is going to be our only non-technical episode because we have a very special guest today with us.
Our guest is native from Colorado and has a master's in science and computing information systems from the Colorado State University, a former tech support engineer, and our senior vice president customer experience center at Cisco, Buffy Ransom. Welcome, Buffy. It's a pleasure to have you today with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, actually.
Thank you. We're glad to have you. So Buffy, as first question, and to introduce yourself as well, you've joined Cisco last year after a long career at Oracle, and the least we can say is that you do have a strong experience both in support services and software as a service. Oracle and Cisco are quite similar companies in terms of size, scale, time span, but what surprised you when you first joined Cisco? What was unexpected and a difference for you?
So if I think about maybe the similarities first, technology, innovation, the drive for, continuing to please our customers, I think is where the similarities are. I think the second similarity is around the people, hiring the best people, the caliber of people, the technology that is invested in the organization as well. But I think when it comes to Cisco, it's all about the culture, and the culture is what differentiates Cisco across the board. And I think it's the drive to learn. And that's why I joined. Learning something new, learning something across the board, learning new technologies, new best practices, new automation, new technology.
If I can drop in a personal anecdote, when I joined Cisco, I thought, oh, that must be a tough job. It was like, to me, it was called Center Hotline. And I promised to myself I'm going to stay 1 year or two max just for the experience. And now it's been 16 years I'm here, and it's because of the culture. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So Buffy, in this podcast, we are inviting guests who have very interesting stories to tell about their technical support experience with customers, how they worked on the technical complex issue and how they solved it. And you as well started some time ago as a tech support engineer. And what was the story that you want us to know about from those days? What was a crazy support experience that you had that you really need us to share?
Gosh, I have so many, like all of us, I think, within the support side of the house, whether it's, the bird lady, whether it's the, flying and fixing, in the remote sites of in the US anyway, our Midwest. But the best experience that kind of pops into my head is, so let me frame the situation. So back in the day, I supported an application software called JD Edwards. It was ERP software, but I was the technical installer. So I did installs, upgrades. I helped customers with customizations, training, all that kind of stuff. So the customer calls, and back in the day, we were, it was a live phone call, and he calmly says, "There is a tree in my AS400, and I don't know what to do."
Whoa.
And I said, "I'm sorry, like a tree? Are you okay?" And he goes, "We just went through Hurricane Sandy, which was a famous, hurricane in Florida in the U.S. about 10, 12 years ago." And I said, "Are you okay? Do we need to start working on your backup plan?" He goes, No, that's the whole point. The tree is sticking out of my AS400, but it's still on. Our ERP systems are still up. Everything is still working. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." And so we actually calmly went through, kind of a whole backup plan for the AS400, shutting down the system and going forward. But it was probably the most wild situation that or the wildest scenario that was ever presented to me. A tree is sticking out of my AS400. What do I do?
Very unusual indeed.
Yes.
Did you ask for a picture?
I should have. This was back in the day where we couldn't send a picture. We were still like on, when I was on call, I was on like a brick phone. That's how old I am. So you can make fun of my brick phones now if you want. Bring out the brick. Everyone was like, "Oh, she's on call. She's got the brick with her."
Customer experience is an afterthought for some companies. As end consumers in our private life, we all know companies who invest far too low in their support structure. But customer experience is a point of differentiation for the smart companies. Could you share with us why support services are critical in today's world and how they allow Cisco to drive successful business outcomes and bring value?
I think Cisco has such a special relationship with our customers, and we are inserted in this kind of irreplaceable part of the customer's business, the connection to everything, the connection to, how the customer exists and is productive both for their customers and their employees as well. So I think number one, what we have, which differentiates us, is our relationship. And it starts from the sales team, it starts from the implementation team, it starts with the services team, and then it continues with the support side of the house as well. And, I think what the gift that we kind of give each other between a customer and Cisco is making sure that we truly understand what's going on in the business and then provide those best services, whatever they might be. So if it's monitoring services, if it's upgrade services, if it's helping customers, over the weekend to help with for their patching and their upgrades, if it's that one SR that comes in, during the week or during the weekend to where we help them in the most critical of situations, I think that's the gift that we have, and it's the people that drive it, and it's the relationships that we have with our customers as well.
So Buffy, you lead the organization called Cisco CX Centers, and that's an organization of more than 8,000 employees. It's huge, right? Both Nico and I are inside this organization in a subsection called TAC, Technical Assistance center. And that's very small compared to the rest of CX. And in the whole CX, we have a wide spectrum of roles, from customer insight to deep technical expertise, Cisco professional services, managed support, and of course, tech. So can you tell us a little more about Cisco support services and the different roles inside this organization?
Absolutely. And maybe I'll start with sharing our vision statement. And I know that kind of sounds, kind of cheesy or whatever it might be, but we are the center of expertise for our customers. So whether we're in the TAC organization, which is, the best of the best that I've seen in all my many years of experience, the services team, the managed services teams that we have to help our customers on a day in and day out, it is all about the people. And if I think about the different roles, we have everything from, we have a team that's called the engine team. And that engine team is our kind of group of developers, if you will, that's developing and thinking 100% of their time about automation and technology and how do we make things, how do we collect information quicker, faster, better from our customers? How do we actually process it in a quality and a consistent way? And then I think about our engineers themselves. And we have everything from emerging talent, which is, great, smart, folks that are coming out of our universities, all the way to our senior technical engineers that, have brought breadth and depth of experience across the board. So thinking about the best of the best, the engineers that actually support our customers, the supporting cast, can't forget them, because I think that supporting cast of folks, which is our team leaders, our duty managers, our managers, the leadership team, the SMEs that are supporting our customers as well. It really is a family, and within that family, we continue to try to do the best we can and continue to drive to improve our expertise on a daily basis.
Now, a bit of a reality check question. Let's be honest. In today's world, everyone talks about machine learning, artificial intelligence, and they're throwing us buzzwords just to sound cool, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, AI is making a huge difference, right? It's not just vaporware. It is making a huge difference in our world. At Cisco, we already have certain products, certain cloud offerings that have real AI bits that is really changing the game. But inside CX, you just touched on it. We use digitization, our knowledge, we try to digitize it. We try to automate everything because, to be honest, 15 years ago when we started, you could get a bunch of logs and just go through it and read everything. It was already difficult, but now we get such a massive amount of information. Without automation, we just cannot do it anymore. So it's really becoming mandatory. We're rapidly evolving on that front, and we're moving beyond reactive support into proactive and predictive support. So what concrete role do you think AI and ML could play in the future of supporting the customers? Because I think that's not necessarily clear to people.
And so such a great question. Now, Cisco, one of the other things that I've been really, really impressed with Cisco about over the past 11 months since I've been here is the technology and innovation that we've been driving within the centers and the TAC organization specifically. So we've been running ML and AI actually for the past 5+ years. We have an internal fondly called tool that's called Sherlock. And Sherlock is an AI and ML tool that actually helps prompt both actually customers and partners, but for the most part, our internal engineers, helping them through, support case, answering generic questions and pulling from, different sources of information that we have to try to deliver that standardized information. I think that next level, which is our, this kind of next evolution that we're going in, which is our generative AI, I think we need to be really thoughtful about how to present it, how to use it. But we do have ideas. And if you think about the service request workflow, there could be quicker, faster ways to actually assign work to our engineers, collecting the most appropriate information. And I think generative AI can actually help us leverage that in that particular way. When we close a service request, it can actually smartly go through the entire, as you pointed out, we collect so much information, and actually having an objective view of exactly what happened within that service request to come up with a root cause analysis is another idea that we're toying around with. Having kind of a co-pilot to help our newer engineers, somebody to ask a simple question to before they go to a SME across the organization. So lots of ideas are rumbling around our heads right now, and some of them are pilots, some of them are just idea mode right now. But I think ML, AI, and generative AI has a place within our business. I think, again, we need to be smart about it. It needs to be thoroughly tested. We need to make sure that we have high expectations of how we leverage it and use it, and making sure that we're really confident in the responses as well. And then externally for our customers as well, we're looking at different scenario-based solutions there. So I don't know, really excited about this. I think we're all geeks, right? With all in the tech organization, myself included. And this is kind of a next area for us to investigate. Really excited about the potential.
I really like you speaking about a reasonable use of AI, because I'll be honest, I'm always honest. When Sherlock came out as an idea, I didn't believe in it because I thought that's going to be too dangerous. But what I like is that when it first got used, I saw people on Twitter, customers geeking out, wondering if it was a real person.
Yeah.
And guess the name of my tech engineer. It's Sherlock. Is it the real name? And okay, after a while, people noticed it was an AI. But it's not like some companies, they try to get rid of customers by sending them to the AI. But here the AI is really helping the tech engineer. When it can reply, it replies much faster than a human, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So that's helping. And also, if the customer is in need to have a human, it's not blocking, right? The human is always behind. And if there's a maintenance window, if there's any problem, Sherlock is actually warning the engineer, your customer needs someone right now. So we're not having a wall in front of our support, but it's actually boosting our tech engineers, and
Yeah.
I think it's providing value that way.
I think it's a complementary tool, I guess, if we can call it that way. And yeah, designed to help. And I think that's the future of our tooling as well. How do we complement? How do we help? How do we get the best information? We're supporting such a complex environment now with our customers having aged gear, new gear, all of the connectivity that surrounds it, software layering now on top, cloud software laying on top of that. And, our customers' environments are so complex. We just need to make sure that we have one source of truth and a quick way to get to it. So I think it's going to be really helpful from that perspective as well.
I think since 20 years, what people like about tech is the human side of it, the exchange, the learning from each other. And I'm happy that we're augmenting that human experience and not replacing it. Because some people say, oh, UI is replacing us. Right now, it's
we'll never be replaced. Let's I can put that on the table for sure.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And you basically just touched a little bit on this, but you know that the complexity of the technology is increasing over and over, right? 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we had networks that were relatively small in size, and they were contained in customer premises most of the time. But recently, in the last 15 to 10 years, we started to see cloud computing. So like customer migrating from on-prem to cloud, adding additional layers into their topology, making small network big and spread across multiple locations, even worldwide. So this increased complexity, how do you think that Cisco services can help our customer to quickly respond to the changes of tomorrow and the future of networking?
I think first it starts with the people. We've talked about people all the way through, today's kind of overall interview, and we need to continue to invest in making sure that our people are ready to support these really, really complex environments. And that complex environment, it really is true. The customers are calling us saying, help us simplify. And so I think all of the if you look at CX centers and then our larger organization, which is CX, all of it is about deriving that experience that tries to aim to simplify, help our customers simplify the management, the maintenance, the day two support systems. How do they evolve and upgrade their environments? How do they maintain their legacy environments as well? So when I think about this, I think simplify, simplify, simplify. So how do we simplify the services? How do we simplify, the support experience to where they get exactly what they need when they need it? So looking at in-product support would be a vision that I would have going forward, to where, the customers in what they're in, they can actually, look and see what resources they have to help them, and then, apply the solution with calling us, without calling us, but they know that it's coming from a trusted source of experts within the business. So simplify is probably the message that comes to my head. And I think about how CX and the CX centers can continue to evolve in that way.
As kind of last question, everyone's career path is unique and yours is not someone else's. But if you had to give one advice to a young manager hoping to become an executive later on, something that you learned the hard way over the years and that you could simplify and transmit to someone starting now, what would it be?
Well, I think we're all really, really smart people, but I think the gift that, or the tool that you need to use the most is listening to the smart people around you, listening to the ideas, synthesizing, all of the inputs, if you will, of that you're gathering from your team and your, surrounding external, sponsors, the stakeholders that you have across the business. I think listening is probably the most powerful tool that you have. When you listen to the smart people that are around you, it makes you a better leader. It makes you a better contributor. I would give this advice actually to, an individual as well as a potential leader as well. Listening, I think it's just one of the most underrated, simple things to do. But listening and just making sure that you fully understand and take all those inputs. I think it's a really, really powerful tool.
I think people think they listen sometimes, but they don't actually.
Exactly. I think when you're really smart, you're like, well, I've already know the answer. Oh, I probably should listen. So it's always a good check.
Okay. We don't want to take too much of your time. We know you have a busy agenda today. Do you have any closing word? Anything you want to share with the audience? Your plans for Cisco? How you feel? Anything you want to close with?
Well, first off, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to be first in your tech stories. Really, really a pleasure to be your guest. If I closing thought, I think the CX centers is number one, the place to be. So if you want to come join our team, come join our team. If from a customer's perspective, we are here for you. And we have a talented group of experts, and we're continuing to drive improvements. We're continuing to look and see what we can do better, and driving, simplicity for all of us around. So that would be my closing thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well, Buffy. It was really nice hearing from you. And hopefully we'll hear a lot of the fantastic stories from our colleagues on technical problems and challenges that they solved in crazy and innovative ways. Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cisco Tech Stories podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback, so reach out to us on Twitter at Cisco Tech Stories.